I'm making this video for myself to put what I've realized into something sort of physical. But I'm sure there are people out there who resonate with this, and if you're one of them, maybe this will help you. What I've realized is that change only occurs when you absolutely need it to. When you're at your lowest lows and you reach a tipping point where you're like, something needs to change, I can't go on living like this. And you go over the edge and you do something that completely changes your life. That only happens when you're suffering, when you're so dissatisfied with your current state. But usually people don't even get to that point, because once they start to feel this discomfort and start to sit with this fear or pain that they have, they resort to overstimulating themselves with shows, movies, food, going out with random people. Like, they do all those things and then they feel a little bit better. It's like putting a band-aid on the gunshot wound, and the blood stops flowing for a little bit, but the wound is still there, and it keeps getting worse and worse, but then they keep covering it up, and maybe their cover-ups get worse and they resort to drugs or alcohol. But in order to overcome this, you have to sit with that fear. And that's very scary, obviously. It's hard for me to even do. And when you're sitting with this fear, you just have to accept it and let it take over you. And it'll be pretty painful, extremely scary and painful. And that's why most people don't do it. Because why would they sit for an hour and think about why they're not making progress or why they're not happy in life, instead when they could just watch the new episode of Squid Game? I don't know. That's a pretty good show though. But it's painful accepting that you're not who you thought you were. That your ego thinks that you're someone who's achieved everything or a significant amount of progress, and you hype yourself up, but in reality, when you look at yourself 6 months ago, what's changed? And for a long time, I would say absolutely nothing. I would seem like I'm making progress to something I care about, but when I look back, I'm at the same place or maybe even worse. So once I started to accept that, I wasn't actually at that point where I could say, I'm good at this or I'm making progress. Once I accepted that, okay, I kind of suck at doing this. I'm kind of bad at whatever I'm working on. And that hurts my ego. It's a terrible feeling to think that something you've been trying to do for months, you've made zero progress in. But once you accept that fact, that's the only way you'll be able to actually make progress. When you're so dissatisfied that the only thing you can do is make progress. So if there's something you want, maybe it's building a insane physique or making a ton of money or finishing school with perfect grades, but you're not getting those results and you find yourself day by day doing the same things over and over again, it's because you don't want it badly enough. You're too content with your life right now. Why would you strive to get all A's when you could just watch YouTube or barely pass a test by cramming the night before, and you get a B+ and you only studied for like 3 hours, as opposed to the person who studied like 8 hours but like started a week before and got an A? I mean, you kind of got the same result, but your self-image is still that of someone who crams at the last second, isn't actually a person who deserves to get the A. So ask yourself, what do I want? And you can name a couple things probably. And ask yourself, do I want this really bad? And maybe your ego will say, yeah, I do. But your actions will say otherwise. So do some reflection, journal about it, and think about it. Like, is this really the path you want to take? Are you willing to put in that much effort and to sacrifice all the comfort to achieve that one thing you really want to achieve? If the answer is no, then, well, you're going to stay where you are. But if the answer is yes, realize that you're going to have to sit with that fear and you're going to have to make the necessary sacrifices. That's all I have to say. If you want my personal help, click the top link in the description. Thank you for watching.